Hello and welcome to a video that's not aiming to be nil satis nisi optimum as such, but more along the lines of slightly above average, like Tony Pulis of Football Management or Joe Allen's whole career. Today we were going to look at whether Romelu Lukaku will still be in an Everton shirt next season, or whether we should reward Leon Osman and Darren Gibson with new contracts, but instead we're going for the lowest hanging fruit, and that is discussing whether Roberto Martinez should still be Everton manager. Without further ado, let's crack on.
Remember back in the halcyon days of August when we all sang Money Can't Buy You Stones to Chelsea and looked forward to our bright young stars having a breakthrough season, swashbuckling their way through the league and challenging the top sides? No? Well, don't blame you really. It seems like a decade ago since the failings of last season were dismissed as second season syndrome for Martinez, a blip that would obviously be overcome. But then, well, we had this season. This awful season. I mean, Bobby Brownshew's heralded as the man who would bring the School of Science back, instead overseeing one of the worst league campaigns in Evertonian living memory. And that's saying a lot, given most of us were alive when this guy was a manager, and this one. Oh wow, remember him? The image of him in a tracksuit is scarred into my memory like two girls, one cup. I digress. Point is, it's been a dire season, and one that can't simply be ignored as part of the blip anymore. With his weird tactical decisions, dodgy January buys, and chatting more wham than Brendan Rodgers on acid, Martinez can no longer be described as phenomenal. So, we're terrible. That's pretty much a given. But is the poor performance over two straight campaigns enough for us to justify sacking our first manager since Walter? That's the bigger question. And it depends really on your expectations for the club. I think it's reasonable to suggest that consecutive bottom half finishes is beneath any Evertonian's expectations. But it is fair to assume that for some Blues, Martinez is in the middle of a master plan, one that will come good very soon, with a talented young squad ready to blossom, and with the money that Mashiri is ready to pump in, ready to take us on to another level that will allow us to play the football that Martinez has in mind. And all that would be fair if it wasn't for just one inconvenient fact. See, unlike Moyes, Smith, Walker and co, Martinez inherited a very solid side, and the underachievement that he has managed with that side has been remarkable because of that. This isn't Brett Angel or Stuart Barlow on the pitch for us. This is Lukaku, Stones, Barkley, McGeady, world-class talents. And it's for that reason, like a business that has a great idea but no way of actually making it work, I personally think it's time to shut shop on Martinez and for a new man to come in with a new vision. It's impossible to hate Martinez, he seems like a really nice guy, but ultimately it's not enough to just be a nice guy as a football manager. You have to actually be able to do your job, and let's face it, for every season bar one he has managed in the Premier League, he hasn't shown anything to suggest he can do the job. The question then is not if Martinez should be shown the door, but when. The FA Cup hangs in the balance, and one win against the run of form will put us in a glorious position to take home our first silverware since 1995. For me, I think Martinez has earned a crack at that. I think we should all get behind the Blues and the manager for one game, as I'm sure we will, and then if we fall over at the semi-final hurdle, I think it'd be best for all parties to part ways. But Roberto Martinez may not be a top manager, probably never will be, but it would be sad if this drags on and real enmity develops as a result, because we as a club and him as a stand-up bloke don't deserve things to end that way.